Tonight, Regina police recommend the city opt into the Safe Public Spaces Act. A call for change after a senior waiting for supportive housing dies in his car. And URSU is set to vote tomorrow on dissolving the union.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Earlier this year, the province's Safe Public Spaces Act came into effect, preventing people from carrying weapons in public spaces like knives, machetes, bear spray, hypodermic needles. Communities must opt in for the act to become law, and last month, the city of Saskatoon did just that. Now the Regina Police Service is suggesting that City Council here does the same. Sierra D'Souza Butts has more.
Aiming to improve public safety downtown, Regina's Board of Police Commissioners is recommending the city opt into Saskatchewan's Safe Public Spaces Street Weapons Act.
It's really in instances where weapons are being used downtown in a way that's not safe. Somebody's carrying a machete down 11th Avenue. We don't want that.
The legislation aims to promote safety in municipalities, authorizing police officers to use their own discretion for removing dangerous weapons off the streets. The act was expanded earlier this year to include fentanyl, hypodermic needles, and methamphetamine under the definition of street weapons. Other examples include large knives, machetes, and bear spray.
This legislation gives us the power to seize that, not lay a criminal charge. We can issue a provincial ticket, so it's less criminalization.
The act is only regulated if municipalities or First Nations choose to opt in. So far, Saskatoon, Moose Jaw, and Yorkton have all done so. However, one advocacy group says if the law goes into effect, it can potentially increase the risk of overdoses and deaths for those dealing with addictions.
Because people obviously are afraid of being in a public space and being criminalized, that means that they are much more likely to be in isolation where they don't have the harm reduction supports in place for their protection.
The City of Regina declined to comment as a discussion is being held on the matter this week. The report will be brought forward to City Council at Wednesday's meeting, where councillors will vote on approving the drafting of the bylaw. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
The Ministry of Health is issuing a drug alert for Regina after fentanyl was tested in cannabis purchased illegally. According to the ministry, a recent sample tested at Nuoyotina Friendship Center tested positive for fentanyl and benzodiazepines. The cannabis was purchased from an unregulated source. While the drug appears to look like normal cannabis, white and blue powder chunks are also present. The ministry says there is an increased risk of overdose and even death, as naloxone will counter effects of fentanyl, but not benzos. The Saskatchewan NDP is raising concerns about the death of a Moose Jaw senior who was waiting for supportive housing. The NDP believe he would have fared better had he not been living in his own car. Wayne Mantika has more.
The senior had been living in his vehicle parked on a Moose Jaw street. He had been in and out of the local shelter and was waiting for supportive housing. He died after being hospitalized for chronic illness.
Square One was assessing him. They were trying to get him housing, didn't really have the funds or the funding for it, and the man apparently died in hospital after a battle with a chronic illness that was left unmanaged because, again, he was living in his vehicle.
Moose Jaw Square One provides housing for 36 residents. Programming is funded by the federal government. The senior who died was one of about 50 people on a waiting list.
It's never specifically someone's fault when this happens, but we know that supportive housing saves lives. We've seen many people's lives changed because of it, and I am confident that individuals like this gentleman and others in his position can definitely be supported.
125 people were living on Moose Jaw streets at last count. Donnie was one of them until moving into Square One.
And I moved in here in April 1st, and it's a great burden off my mind and shoulders knowing that I have a home to come to.
The provincial government says it appreciates the work of Square One. However, social services does not provide details on specific cases like the death of the Moose Jaw senior. Square One plans to continue funding discussions with the provincial government. It hopes the province will come on board so that more lives can be changed in the community. Wayne Mantica, CTV News, Moose Jaw.
This evening, the Regina Public Library Board of Directors voted yes to issue a request for qualifications. That's the first step in finding a contractor or developer to renew the Central Library. The RFQ is a precursor to the RFP, Request for Proposals, which will be issued in early 2026. The RFP competition is when the developers can pitch their vision for the external components of the building. The internal design and construction will be managed through a second process. The RFQ will be posted to Sask tenders in October, and the decision for the official location will be announced next summer.
Proposals for the shell may include renovating or enhancing current structures. It might be building new. It might be sharing space with another tenant or some other similar scenario.
Some services will be moving to a temporary leased operations center in November. University of Regina is one step closer to learning the future of its students' union. Tomorrow, a vote is scheduled to determine if the union should dissolve. Damian Smith has more.
The University of Regina's Students' Union offices locked up and closed with an important meeting looming.
This sort of thing has followed URSU through my entire university career, unfortunately.
The Students' Union, or URSU, will gather Wednesday afternoon to find a resolution that will dissolve the union. Fourth-year political science student and student senator Matthew McStravick says that he has been hearing stories about URSU's reputation on campus since he became a student in 2022.
URSU seems, I believe, to be thinking that their own lack of popularity, ironically, is going to get them the vote result that they seem to want, the outcome they seem to want from this special general meeting they've called, which is dissolution on their terms.
The meeting follows a series of clashes between the union and university over the past several months. If the special meeting resolution is approved, the board of directors would be authorized to engage a liquidator to oversee the dissolution process with all URSU records and data remaining URSU property, and would release members of the URSU board of directors, executives, management, and staff from liability relating to its operations and dissolution. The Regina Police Service announced in late August that has opened an investigation into URSU and potential misappropriation of funds. And in a response to CTV News ahead of the meeting tomorrow, the university says they encourage students to attend the meeting and that they will continue to monitor the situation. CTV News also reached out to URSU today for comment, but were unable to obtain a response. McStravick says despite the absence of the union on campus this semester, student organizations remain on good terms with the university. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
191 police officers across the province are being awarded for keeping impaired drivers off the roads in 2024. We showed you yesterday in Saskatoon. Here, the 7th annual MAD Canada's Van de Voorst Family Awards took place in Regina. That honors the Southern Saskatchewan police officers who keep roads, waterways, and trails safe. Silver, gold, and platinum levels of the awards are given out based on a number of impaired drivers that the officers removed from the roads. These awards are in memory of the Van de Voorst family who were killed by an impaired driver back in 2016.
It's MAD Canada's honor and privilege to acknowledge police officers who remove impaired drivers from the road. Technically, they're saving lives every day, and we need that enforcement to continue to be proactive in Saskatchewan.
The awards ceremony was held in Saskatoon yesterday. Sabine joins us on the second day of fall, but it's not really fall. Is it, Sabine? It's still summer out.
Yeah, I saw someone post on social media that they were hanging out by a pool, and that's exactly what this weather is going to make you want to do. We're seeing those temperatures nearing 30 degrees today. That'll continue into tomorrow, Lee, and basically for the rest of this week. Clear conditions right across most of the province. On the radar satellite, we did see a little bit of precipitation coming in through the northwest and did see some cloud cover come through as well. Most of that sticking to the north, and temperatures, though, continuing to be well above the average. Now, current temperatures still sitting in the mid to high 20s for many parts of the province, cooling down to that seasonal level in northern Saskatchewan, Stony Rapids, Buffalo Narrows in the high teens. But here in Regina, we did get up to about 25 degrees late this afternoon. Had a very chilly start to the day at about 2 degrees early this morning. However, like I said, the average is about 17 degrees. So this, what we're dealing with with right now is sticking around at least for the next week, and I'll have all those details coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
Thank you, Sabine. Monday's announcement by the CFL regarding upcoming rule changes doesn't just impact the league itself. It has a trickle-down effect to amateur football, from the university ranks all the way down to those little tykes. Hallie Mandrick spoke with local organizations more than 24 hours after the news broke.
A series of changes to Canadian Football League rules have a number of other Saskatchewan football organizations debating next steps.
The biggest thing that's going to affect our organization is the moving of the goalposts and the changing of the field. You know, we have an amazing facility right here, and a lot of money was put into it, and it would take a lot of money to change where the goalposts are and really reconfigure the field.
While the Saskatoon minor football field was built to be able to convert to an American field, the changes proposed by the CFL would require some new construction.
This is a multi-use field for us. We use it for flag, and we've actually got quite a good capacity use out of this field. And if we move the goalposts, it might limit even where some of our flag fields can be and stuff like that. So we're really going to have to revisit, how that's going to shape what happens here.
From a teaching standpoint, the idea of moving the goalposts further back in the end zone would have a significant effect on the kicking game, according to Giebert.
We're talking about converts in amateur football now being a 27-yard field goal. Well, that's really difficult at the minor level. So for our KFL kids to be able to kick a convert now, it's almost an impossible task. So, you might actually have a lack of developing those skills.
The Football Canada amateur rules are separate from the CFL rule book, but a number of football organizations, including junior football and university sports, have stated that they're in the process of reviewing how these CFL rule changes will affect amateur organizations.
There's a lot of facilities, thousands of facilities across the country here that are going to need some pretty major changes to it, and that comes at a mega cost, and I don't think the CFL is paying for that. So we'll have to figure out what's in the best interest of the game going forward from an amateur standpoint.
These CFL rule changes won't be in effect until 2027, so amateur organizations still have some time to decide how or if they'll be incorporating them. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The economy was front and center in Saskatoon today as Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem spoke to business leaders. As Keenan Sorokon tells us, Macklem couldn't think of a better place to talk about major changes to the global trade.
Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem spent the first of 2 days in Saskatoon Tuesday highlighting the new economic world Canada faces and the role Saskatchewan can play within it.
The ramifications of a new relationship with the United States are immense. And one thing is clear, we cannot afford to wait this out.
Over his roughly 20-minute speech to business and political leaders during a luncheon, Macklem highlighted 4 mega trends in global economics and their implications. The slow of trading, the United States not dominating trade anymore, but still dominating financial flows, and the trade imbalances from America's deficit to the surplus situations in China and Europe.
There's some role for monetary policy to try to help the economy adjust to this new relationship, but our primary mandate is to make sure that Canadians don't need to worry about a big change in their cost of living.
Macklem says Saskatchewan can be an example moving forward, with exports being far less reliant on the United States than many other provinces.
Canada needs to do more of that. Canada needs to diversify its trade.
And the Premier says that's the backbone of the provincial economy.
If you don't work directly for an industry that is exporting a product somewhere else in the world, you're likely servicing people that are working in an exporting industry.
Macklem says removing trade barriers, recognizing labor standards, and getting more products east-west and out of the country quicker are some examples of the change needed. But Macklem says Canada can't afford to drag its feet.
The more we can grow our markets, the more we can reduce the cost of business doing in the country, the more we can improve our productivity, that will generate more income. And if you have more income, everything becomes more affordable.
While Saskatchewan's economy is more resilient than others, Macklem warned if change doesn't happen quickly, Canada's long-term economic prosperity is at risk. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Greetings, everyone. Earlier this month, Pipot First Nation held a special celebration honoring 150 years of being a part of Treaty 4 territory. Thanks to a special collaboration with the Museum of Manitoba, Nation members got the opportunity to see and touch items once used by the chief in which the nation is named after.
On September 9th, 1875, Chief Pye Pot signed onto Treaty 4 territory. 150 years later, the descendants of his nation are celebrating the signing as well as his legacy by repatriating items once used by the founding chief.
It's a very overwhelming, surreal feeling. It's, you know, just to look at the valley. What our eyes see is what our founding chief seen back in the 1800s, you know, the meeting and having those items. It's unexplainable.
For decades, the items of Chief Pye Pot were stored at the Manitoba Museum. The process to get them back to the nation began earlier this year. In total, 19 items were repatriated, the largest repatriation to date for the Manitoba Museum.
It is a proud moment for museums to really take stock of what we're doing here and to really look at what speaks to our collections and what belongings really do rightfully need to go home. So I think having some transparency around that too, and just having these discussions where we talk about repatriation are really important.
The search and repatriation were led from within Pye Pot First Nation. Murray Ironchild is an elder from the nation who supported the team during the process. He hopes other nations follow suit.
You do it on your own, you know, the group that's there, they're educating themselves, you know, so that them too, when they're asked like this, that they have a better understanding and, you know, and speak about these things in a truthful way.
There are plans of building a heritage center where the items will be put on display, inspiring nation members for many years to come.
We want generations after us to see the work that we did and what we put in place for them to remember and not to lose. The most important thing is the Ospaw gun that our founding chief left us that are going to carry us for hundreds of years.
But the work is not done. The nation's research team is now focusing on repatriating other Pye Pot items at museums in Saskatchewan and abroad.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
Still ahead, leaked audio of him questioning the gun buyback program has the minister in charge in hot water. And airports in Norway and Denmark are shut down after drones were seen in the area.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Saskatchewan, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Government announcing implementation plans for the firearm buyback program, starting with a 6-week pilot project in Nova Scotia before opening up nationwide later this fall. As CTV's Rachel Aiello tells us, today the minister responsible struggled to publicly defend the compensation program that he has privately questioned.
Have you not failed at the task of getting this moving faster?
Absolutely not.
The public safety minister faced tough questions today as he unveiled the next phase of the federal firearm buyback.
The opening of the program to individual owners.
A program that he questioned the efficacy and enforceability of in audio leaked just yesterday.
I have absolute confidence in this program.
Then why didn't you say what you said? After a Cape Breton test run, owners nationwide of the more than 2,000 makes and models of firearms that the Liberals have outlawed will be contacted with instructions on how to participate. Those seeking compensation will either be able to turn their firearms over to local police after scheduling a time online, or keep them after proving they've been deactivated by a licensed gunsmith. The public safety minister said the context of his recorded comments were that he wanted the program implemented faster. But now, years after the buyback was first promised, firearms owners have until October 2026 to comply. And critics are calling for Gary Anandasangari's resignation.
On Monday, a minister says that his program won't work. On Tuesday, he says he's going ahead with the program.
The minister also faced calls today from gun control groups to expand the ban, saying unless additional semi-automatics are added, Canada's buyback program will be a waste of the more than $700 million already allocated. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meanwhile, Ottawa has announced it is dropping a pair of legal challenges over the United States' decision to slap duties on Canadian softwood lumber. Global Affairs says it made the move in the interest of securing a long-term deal on softwood lumber with the U.S. It says the government still believes American anti-dumping duties are unfair, and it is pursuing 6 other legal challenges. The U.S. Commerce Department announced plans last month to raise duties on Canadian softwood lumber to more than 20%. Washington claims Canada is flooding the market with cheap subsidized products. At the UN's General Assembly, Prime Minister Mark Carney and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky brought up the abduction of children by Russian forces and why the return must be central to future peace negotiations. But it was actually the leaders' spouses that took the spotlight. CTV's Judy Trin explains why.
At the United Nations, the Prime Minister and President Volodymyr Zelensky called for the return of thousands of Ukrainian children taken by Russia.
Putin has stolen Ukrainian children.
Russia first abducted them and deported them.
Together with our allies. The most emotional pleas came from their wives. Diana Fox Carney making her first international speech alongside her husband.
As a mother, I simply cannot fathom the horror. What these children have endured is more than unjust. It is inhumane.
Their identities are changed. Their ties severed. Their hopes destroyed.
Canada said it's investing in AI technology to help find the Ukrainian children. Only about 1,600 children have been returned to their families. In his address to the General Assembly, President Donald Trump spoke of his frustrations with the continuing war.
It was supposed to be just a quick little skirmish. It's not making Russia look good. It's making them look bad.
Earlier this summer, during a meeting with Vladimir Putin, Trump hand-delivered a letter from the First Lady calling for the return of the children. Her efforts were acknowledged by Mark Carney in front of European leaders.
We welcome the recent powerful appeal to President Putin by the First Lady of the United States to consider the plight of children in ending this war.
This is an area of common ground between Carney and Trump at a moment when Canada is breaking with the U.S. in recognizing the state of Palestine. Judy Trin, CTV News, New York.
Airports in Oslo and Copenhagen, the 2 busiest in Europe's Nordic region, were forced to shut down for hours today because of unidentified drones flying in the area. This video shows one of the mysterious drones in Denmark, which raised alarm bells and grounded or diverted dozens of flights, impacting tens of thousands of passengers. Denmark's prime minister called it the most severe attack on Danish infrastructure to date, and that Russia cannot be ruled out as the perpetrator. The man accused in a failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump at his golf course last year has been found guilty. 59-year-old Ryan Ruth was found guilty on all charges, including attempted assassination of a major presidential candidate and assaulting a federal officer. Authorities say Ruth created a sniper's nest near the 6th green of Trump International Golf Club, but never fired a shot at Trump. A 100-year-old Second World War veteran is back home in Ontario after an anonymous donor stepped up to fund a $60,000 flight home after the senior fell ill while in British Columbia.
Great to see you, Bill.
So good to see you. Yeah, you behave yourself.
Be strong. Hey, Bill.
Days after finishing a cruise, Bill Shea was taken to hospital with pneumonia and a bladder infection. Requests to Global Affairs Canada to pay for his flight home were denied. But after seeing reports about the veteran's month-long stay in hospital, a donor reached out to cover the entire cost of his return. Shea is now recovering in a Windsor hospital. Coming up, some local businesses are making a point to use ingredients from Saskatchewan farms.
This week in sports, we're talking hockey and football. Wednesday on Your Morning, we are live with the Saskatoon Hilltops, but we're also on the ice talking to the Regina Pats.
All right, let's take a look look at your forecast for tonight. That Director Alex with the hands, he's a funny guy. All right, we're going to take a look at your temperatures for today and into the rest of the week. A very warm day. First of all, I just need to, beautiful shot through our sky cam. There is the ice cream truck still outside. People are enjoying the outdoors. Got up to 25 degrees today in Regina, currently sitting at 23. Not too bad when it comes to the wind either. Currently sitting at 15 kilometers an hour. Further up north, we did have those winds gusting up to about 40, even up to about 50 kilometers an hour. We could see some strong wind gusts come our way later this week. But in terms of today and into tomorrow, we're going to continue, actually more than tomorrow, for the rest of the week, we're going to continue to see something like this as the radar is showing us right now. We, over the last few hours, saw mostly clear conditions, starting to see a little bit of that rain come through the north. That rain is expected to continue as we head into tomorrow. Along with that system will bring some of that cloud cover, which could come further into particularly the southwest area. But for most of tomorrow, well, tonight into tomorrow, and for much of the rest of the week, we'll continue to see clear conditions. So there you can see that rain arriving into the north tomorrow morning, but still not really affecting most of Saskatchewan, even into the Prince Albert area. Could see a little bit of that cloud cover. But apart from that, we're going to continue to see nothing but sunshine for the rest of this week until Friday. And that's where it's at the tail from that system that's going to continue to bring some more rain through the north. We'll see more of the cloud cover. Could possibly see some scattered precipitation, but mostly right now it's looking like we will see some clouds rolling in Friday morning, but we'll still see mostly sunny conditions, and you'll see that in your 7-day forecast. Temperatures a little cooler tomorrow, but not really cool. That's actually the average. 17 degrees for La Loche and La Ronge tomorrow, 18 for Lloydminster, 23 and mainly sunny for Prince Albert. And then when we get into more of central southern Saskatchewan, that's where we'll see those temperatures really warming up. 21 for North Battleford, 26 and sunny for Saskatoon, 28 and sunny for Yorkton, the southwest, starting to see some of those 30s. 28 for Maple Creek, 29 for Swift Current. Moose Jaw expecting to get up to 31 degrees with nothing but sunshine there in the southeast, also seeing 30s. 30 for Weyburn, 29 for Estevan, 29 for Assiniboia. All clear conditions tonight into tomorrow with a whole lot of sunshine expected. Also right here in Regina, 7 degrees tonight, clear with the winds not too bad, up to about 20 kilometers an hour. And then into tomorrow, 29 is the expected daytime high. Could actually get into the 30s tomorrow. And the winds starting to pick up a little at up to 40 kilometers an hour. Now, where we'll see those strong wind gusts arrive will be the end of this week into your weekend. But again, 29 and sunny for Wednesday. Thursday, 21 and sunshine. But Friday, you can see, despite the fact that we're still going to see the sunshine and warmer temperatures at about 20 degrees, we're still going to start to see those winds starting to pick up, gusting up to about 55, 60 kilometers an hour. And then Saturday, strong wind gusts sticking around. 25 is the expected daytime high and mainly sunny conditions. And then by the time we get into Sunday, still seeing the temperatures at about 25, mainly sunny, but the winds slowly starting to come back down. They will return by Tuesday. Monday, 23, mainly sunny. And Tuesday, we're still seeing very warm temperatures. Earlier yesterday, the models were showing that maybe we'll get back into that seasonal range by the start of next week. Now it's looking like we're going to still see a lot of these warm temperatures. So by Tuesday, we're still well above the average by about 10 degrees, 26 and mainly sunny. But again, the wind's expected to return by Tuesday with the wind gusting up to about 55, 60 kilometers an hour. So a couple of windy days ahead, especially around the weekend, but still very warm temperatures. Tomorrow looking like it's going to be the warmest day of the week for folks in Regina especially.
Yeah, quite the September to remember, at least the end of it when it comes to warm temperatures.
And you know what? Last year at this time, we did see some temperatures around the 32-degree mark. So, I mean, we're on what is the word? We're on, you know what? Don't worry about it. We're matching last year. I'm done. Bye.
While Chinese tariffs are only impacting Canada's canola industry, getting their product to market is a concern for every farmer right now in the province. That's why some local businesses have made a priority to use crops grown right here in Saskatchewan. Regina Declout has the details.
Amid tariffs that drive up cost and squeeze producers, many local processors are keeping crops close to home, turning harvest into food and beverages that sustain their local communities.
Yeah, in general, I try to support local. Like, we're a small-town business who ask people to support local, so it's only fair if we also support local ourselves.
His in-laws decided to stop farming grains, but they still wanted to produce something.
So they took a small section of the yard, planted some hops, put them up, put up poles and strings, and they grew well. They grew very well.
Now the farm provides fresh hops for the small brewery in Moosomin.
As much as I am able to, I buy Saskatchewan malted barley, and I use the hops grown at the hops farm. So most of the beer we come out of here is almost entirely Saskatchewan ingredients.
About 2 hours north, a Yorkton staple is serving its community with locally sourced, ready-to-eat products.
We go through, 1,000 or 1,500 tons a month, so it requires a lot of different farms. But we try to really grab our flax locally, or as local as we can.
He says TA Foods chooses Canadian ingredients because of its high quality, and the growers are ethically responsible.
Some of the farmers we've worked with, for 15 years, we keep buying their flax every year, every other year, depending how it works into the rotation, and we just trust that what they're bringing in here is of high quality and ungrading.
It seems to be a winning strategy.
So as soon as it runs out in a store, we're getting emails about it. Where's the TA Foods milled flax product? So our local customers love our product.
Over the years, TA Foods has expanded to supply grocery chains in Canada and beyond. While tariffs continue to raise concerns for our crops and producers, this harvest is still a time to celebrate the bounty grown and processed locally. Regina Declout, CTV News, Yorkton.
Still ahead, while the Riders are focusing on this weekend's game versus Edmonton, they're also reacting to what the CFL game will look like in the future.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
After a bye week, the Riders are back practicing, preparing for Saturday's showdown in Edmonton, and a lot of injured players were participating. Receivers Samuel Emelis and Kian Schaefer-Baker, O-lineman Philip Gagnon, running back Thomas Bertrand-Houdon, and corner Marcus Sales. Now, with a playoff spot clinched, the Riders are nowhere near next year country, but today they were willing to talk about the future and the rule changes announced on Monday. Jacob Carr has more.
The announcement of sweeping changes to the CFL game has seen mixed reactions across the country from fans, media, and players. On Tuesday, CTV News got some reaction from members of the Riders, including offensive coordinator and Regina product Mark Mueller, who says he doesn't mind the tweaks.
The goalposts, it was a unique to the Canadian game thing, and it was different. I remember as a kid, the Libel Field goalposts went right on the goal line. So as long as you touched the goalpost, you were in. So I liked that, but that hasn't happened for a long time.
And Mueller's signal caller agrees that people who are staunchly opposed to the changes need to RELAX, saying the Canadianness of the Canadian Football League isn't going anywhere.
Maybe a bit of an overreaction yesterday by some people, but I mean, shoot, it's still 3 downs. There's still 12 people on the field. Field's still 65 yards wide. The end zone's still bigger than 10 yards. It's going 15. It's still Canadian football.
Receiver Sam Emelis, who could possibly make his return to the lineup this week after a lengthy stint on injured reserve, told CTV News that the goalpost change and field dimensions could open up more scoring. And as a Canadian, he has no qualms with the changes closely mirroring the American game.
I would say most of the basic rules will stay in place with the waggle and stuff. So I don't think it's going to change too much on my end, but I can see why people are thinking that.
Another Canuck, Corey Mace, quipped about the teams being put on opposite sidelines starting next year.
The sideline thing, I was a little upset about because I just started training. I was ready for Dinwiddie. But other than that, I guess I don't have to work out again. Sorry, babe.
Jokes aside, Mace and the Riders will get one more shot this season to defeat his old coaching colleague, Ryan Dinwiddie, and the Argos on October 10th at home. But for now, the focus is solely on this week's opponent, the Edmonton Elks. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
A Winnipeg video game organization heading to the States to play in the Call of Duty Warzone World Series. CTV's Harrison Shin tells us they'll be battling some pretty serious prize money.
Heard about the news?
No, we actually couldn't believe it. I had just woken up, I checked my phone, I saw the notification, and I thought I was dreaming.
But it was real, and Marquez's team, Lotus 8, is heading to the World Series of Call of Duty Warzone next week. He's the team captain, and if you don't know what the game is...
So Warzone is a first-person shooter battle royale. So 150 players drop into a map. A zone closes in every 4 or 5 minutes until there's only one team standing.
It could be worth $1 million if they win the competition being held in Las Vegas, Nevada this year.
We want to win, of course. We're feeling great. We've been playing some scrims with the qualified teams, and we've been doing well in those.
Video gaming at this level is also known as esports, and competitions are growing internationally. Melanie Penner is CEO of the Manitoba Esports Association. She says organizations like Lotus 8 show how it should be done.
It's a very loving and welcoming community, and I think that the fact that you have someone from the province representing it, I think is really amazing.
But it's not been without speed bumps for Marquez. He says he was initially dropped from another rosters, but his current teammates picked him up, and together they are going for the win.
Whatever your dream is, chase your dreams. Nothing's impossible. Whether you think it's out of reach, it's not. If you put in the time, the hard work, and the dedication, it will pay off.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Enemy Rhino sighted.
Coming up, discussing the challenges of being a small business owner in Saskatoon.
On track is what I was trying to say last weather segment. All right, let's get to it. Your rural forecast for tomorrow, same as what we've been talking about, continuing to see those above seasonal temperatures, a lot of sunshine, and actually some temperatures even nearing 30 degrees like Wynyard, getting up to 29 degrees, 28 for Hudson Bay, 28 also for Outlook, 27 for Melfort, and then we're into that seasonal range for areas like Meadow Lake, Spiritwood, Lloydminster, seeing the mid to high teens as their daytime high. We do have a system that's going to be bringing some cloud cover and rain through that area as it continues to make its way towards northeast. So a little cooler in that area, but continuing to see sunshine in 22 for Kindersley, and then closer to the southern border, temperatures even warmer. 30 expected for Coronach tomorrow, 28 for Broadview, Carlisle, Maple Creek, 30 also for Assiniboia, 29 expected for Lumsden and Pilot Butte and for Kenora. So very warm temperatures expected, including Radville, where internet speeds up to 1 gig available through SaskTel, 130 kilometers around there south of Regina. 29 is the expected daytime high. Found out that they also have some beautiful green space due to a teenager who decided to start a tree planting project back in the 30s, and now they have like 4 parks, so you'll probably be spending time outdoors there.
Hundreds of Canadian business owners in the food industry were in Saskatoon today, sharing their startup stories while discussing the challenges of getting their product to market. CTV's Laura Woodward has more.
From spicy dill pickle beef jerky to freeze-dried strawberries, food entrepreneurs from across Canada gathered in Saskatoon for the Food and Beverage Summit at Prairie Land Park, including Toronto's Emily O'Brien, the founder of Comeback Snacks.
Well, I started this company in the most unlikely of places, and that was federal prison.
While incarcerated for attempting to smuggle cocaine into Canada, O'Brien turned the popular prison snack of popcorn into a business. She joins hundreds of other Canadian entrepreneurs sharing stories, struggles, and strategies.
Forming new relationships, new collaborations, and seeing how creative you can get by working with others.
One of the big topics, distribution challenges and rising costs.
Packaging is going up, labels are going up, the cost of distribution is going up. Figuring out what cost increases we can absorb, what cost increases we are forced to pass on to the retailers and therefore the consumer, where we meet in the middle with that, and what the market will bear, and how do we still make a living with the cost of everything going up.
And despite inflationary pressures and cross-border trade barriers, this Saskatchewan business is seeing growing interest in buying local.
To support people like me and support farmers, producers, marketers in Saskatchewan and throughout Canada as well.
Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
While Saskatoon is not surrounded by forests, it doesn't make the city immune to wildfires. As CTV's Stacey Hine tells us, some Saskatoon firefighters are among those learning how to respond to wildfires that might hit city centers.
With wildfires devastating communities like Fort McMurray, Jasper, and recently Denair Beach, the Saskatoon Fire Department wants to be prepared. It says with cities expanding into rural and forested areas, there's a significant increase to the risk of wildfires impacting homes, infrastructure, and lives.
So we have had a few incidents where it did get serious. We were able to combat those situations properly as a fire department, but we see that there's a gap there.
Now 16 firefighters from Saskatoon and 4 from Prince Albert are learning how to respond to wildfires in city centres through Wildland Urban Interface Fire Training. The 4-day program includes a hands-on scenario where a fire from the riverbank is approaching homes.
Typically with house fires, we anchor and stay in position, but here we need to move. We need to be adaptable so that we can reload hose quickly and move on to our next objective.
Crews respond to the fire by evacuating residents.
Move this propane tank inside the garage.
Moving combustibles and putting out hotspots. The training is led by the International Association of Firefighters. It's the first of its kind in Saskatchewan, but urban wildfires are becoming a concern across North America.
We've seen these fires pop up all across the United States and all across Canada, right from the West Coast to the East Coast to in Central. We're getting these types of fires, so it's relevant to every city.
Once training is complete, the firefighters will become instructors and can teach others how to respond to these type of fires. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Markets both going down today. The TSX dropped by 143 points, the Dow Jones by 88 points. As for the Canadian dollar, it stayed the same, 72.27 cents U.S. Commodity front, gold up $17.32. West Texas Intermediate crude up $1.13, while Western Canadian Select crude was up $1.01. And gas in Regina, no movement on that front. It's currently at $1.35.9 cents per liter. Coming up tonight after the newscast, we've got The Voice, followed by Double High Potential. Not double Big Bang Theory, no. Sabine.
I know.
You lose this round.
I know.
Well, we are expected to meet Saskatchewan's newest millionaire tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. On Wednesday, Sask Lotteries will announce the winner of the September 6th $5 million Lotto 649 draw. No details about the winner or where the ticket was purchased have been revealed. A news conference with the winner is being held in Saskatoon.
Could be anyone.
Could be.
Do you?
No.
Okay.
It was like a scene of Dukes of Hazzard or the video game Grand Theft Auto when a suspect jumped a drawbridge to get away from police.
Seattle police pursuing a suspected stolen vehicle when a driver turned on the bridge, which was in the process of closing, but the car broke through the barrier and jumped over the gap in the bridge, leaving the officers behind. The car was later found, but the suspect had fled the scene, so the suspect has not been caught.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I was hoping there was going to be a close-up of the jump, but whoop, cop didn't want to do it. Have you ever wanted to do that jump?
Yes, and all the drawbridges we have here?
No, but if it ever happened, you know.
No, I'd rather, like, bungee jump off a bridge like that.
In a car?
No. Oh, my gosh. Why? It's only Tuesday.